can't even have one time today. God is good and God is good all the time. I have a word for you tonight. We're gonna talk about more than a conqueror. More than a conqueror. We're gonna come from Romans chapter 8, 31 to 39. To become a conqueror, we must carry the cross to be more than a conqueror. Jesus went through a lot. You know, so when you're in your trials, don't think it's gonna be easy. We got to go through something. Got to go through the hard time and everything. Got to go through that dark valley. To be more than a conqueror. So we know that Jesus experienced pain and suffering. Before he departed from this earth. That's why Paul said, we have to go through the hard time. Sometimes we want to get. I'm talking to myself. Sometimes we may want to get around it. Okay, I did a little pain. Okay, God, let's just try to go around. But Paul said no, we can't go around. Jesus has suffered from morning to night. And we do a little pain. And we like that's it. But me, mine is different. I've been in this song a long time. And I feel the pain. I feel the persecution that Jesus had went through 24 hours a day. So the hard time, we have to go through and we cannot go around. We have to achieve victory through the pain. And sometimes, God will want, he still wants so much from you when in your pain. Because it's like you have achieved your victory through your pain, and suffering. So Jesus had conquered his victory through his pain. He had got glory through his pain because once he had died, he rise back up the third day. So he rise up the third day. So we also can carry that cross. It won't be exactly like Jesus was. That was a horrible pain. We go through horrible pain, but it's not like what he went through. What then shall we say in a response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? That's an old saying that everyone says. Why you worry? Because if God for us, who can be against us? So Paul stated that God embraced us in his love rather than being against us. So God is for us, rather than taking from us. He give all to us and rather than condemning us. This is Paul saying. Now he said he justified us. So even though we face trials, and difficulty, and suffering, but this remind us that God is with us and for us. That's what Paul's saying. Paul said, even though we experience these trials, we experience these difficult times, all this pain and suffering, imagine when Jesus was on that cross, trust me, God was right there. God was right there watching over him. And just the same way with us. That's just like when Job was going through all that pain and suffering, and the devil hit his son, God was right there. But see, God watch and see when it's enough. And he know when to stop, when it's enough. A lot of time I keep saying it's enough. But God keep on going and going because see, he knows when it's enough. He knows when you can't take no more. He know that Job couldn't take no more. He know that Jesus couldn't go no more. Jesus did the Holy Ghost and that was it. Because God know, and God was watching over Jesus just like he watched over us through our pain, suffering, difficult time, all the hard time that we go through, and we always think we alone. Why is this happening? But God be right there. He is for us, Paul saying. So he who did not spare his own son, but give him up, for us all. How will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? Paul Paul reminds us that God is for us, and he proved it, by sending Jesus as our substitution for sin. So who will bring any charge against those who God has chosen? But they always try, you know, they always try. They're just like God had told Satan about Job. That's one of my righteous person. That didn't matter. Satan had said, "Well, you take that shield off of him and let me do the work on him. I bet you in the money he will curse you out." And Job did not. So in that case, you know, Satan had lost. Satan did all that to Job and he lost. So God had chosen us, and it is He Himself that make us righteous. Satan is busy, going before God. Now Satan always go before God, to try to see who he gonna mess with now. But God is with a list of accusation to condemn us day and night. See, Satan write a list. Who he gonna mess with day and night. But soon the accuser will be thrown down. A man also can charge and even condemn us. But a man can never separate us from God unless we let him. Only way we can get separated from God if we let it. But other than that, Satan cannot tear apart unless we allow Satan to. So Job made sure he ain't let Satan told him apart between God. But see, he still kept a relationship with God. Why he was in, and that's the thing. When we in our pain and suffering, going through this hard time, difficult time, this keep on happening, that keep on happening. When you have that situation, here comes something else, and you can pray all you want. You can keep on praying, and things happen. You're like, well, I prayed before I left, but you got to keep on praying. Because God hear your prayers. And sometimes God allow things to happen sometimes, to test you. Sometimes I put that out like a couple of days ago about faith. About how sometimes God allows certain things to come in your life. He'll allow certain little pain and stuff to come in your life. You ain't going to get through your journey so easy. You have to be more than a conqueror. You have to keep them standards. Like, you got to keep on holding on. You got to keep that faith going. You may be weak. You may be bent over. But you got to keep on going. You got to have in your mind that you're more than a conqueror. That no matter what Satan throw at you, that you're gonna keep on holding on. Keep on holding on. And the main thing that you need faith and you need hope. Because you have to keep hope alive, And right now, sometimes your fire can burn out. When you're in a long stop, talking about myself. Sometimes that fire can burn out. But some kind of way, you got to try to get that fire back. We got to get that fire back. We can't let the Satan see you all bent over and you burnt out. Because see, Satan gonna keep on hanging around. Okay, you burnt out. You ain't got no more fire. Okay, you ain't got this. Satan gonna keep on hanging around. He gonna want to wait for that downfall. But what I did, I got tools. I got myself together. Got me some food. So whatever I need, we have to keep our energy up. We got to keep our heart and our mind fed. Fed with that word and fed with food. Because we got to keep our strength up to keep on running this race. Cause as we running this race, we got Satan on our back. We got Satan on this side, and he gained up all the people to come against you. So you have all kind of obstacles on your way when you trying to focus and trying to get through that pathway. Satan gonna always have blockers, in your way. But you got to keep on pressing on, and you need your strength. You need your strength. You got to take some time and take a break. I had let myself got so burnt out. I had to go make me some groceries. And sometimes you have the food and you be too tired and burnt out to try to get to food, fix the food, but you need your strength. You because when Satan see you weaken, see when you weaken, Satan right there, he waiting for you to fall. He waiting for you to faint. When she faint, she can't go no more. She gonna curse God out like I'm done with this here. Satan will sit around and wait. So who then is the one who condemn us? No one. No one but God. Christ Jesus, who died more than that, who was raised to life, and at the right hand of God, and also interceding for us. So now, Satan came, even though it was God's plan. It was God's plan. But Satan had did Jesus in. But Jesus had rise on the third day. See, Jesus had got victory. He rise on the third day. They thought they got him. They thought he got him, But Jesus is up there with God on his right hand side interceding for us. So when we on our job, on our journey, we have Jesus is looking out for us, is guiding us. He on that right side of God, guiding us. But he know the evilness that's out here. He was here before, but he had to come on this earth as a human being. So he know what we going to. So Satan thought he had got Jesus. But then Jesus rise up, and up there with God on his right hand side, still interceding for us. And so Paul has said that Jesus is interceding for us in heaven. So God had removed our sin through his son. Jesus, our after day, sit at God's right hand. So he's sitting at God's right hand to represent our case. He represents our case. So we hear in that verse, that's Jesus God. He said, he letting you know, okay, Satan, come this way. I need you to go that way. So always listen out for a verse. So who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship, persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or danger, or sword. So, however, everyone who has a personal relationship with the Lord can be confident that his love never fails. In another thing, when you have a relationship with God, and you doing what you're supposed to do with God, here comes Satan. That's why he came and sought our Jew. He sought our Jew because he saw that Joe was praying. He knew Joe was a righteous person. See, Satan know who to scoop out. He know who is who. He knew that God had a shield over Joe. Okay, let me do this, but I need you, God, to take that shield off of Joe. Now, how he know the shield was over Joe? See, the Satan already know God people. He know who got a shield over what. He know who is righteous and who is standing for God. So you have to be confident that his love will not fail. So Romans chapter 8, 35, 39 said, Paul has said, teaches that it is impossible, for the believer to be separated from Christ and his love. Because he is interceding for us on the right hand side of God. So as it is written, for your sake, we face death all day long. Yes, we do. We face death every day. That's why when I wake up in the morning, thank you God for another day. Because when you go to sleep at night, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to wake up in the morning. The only person, that can put breath in you, allow you to see another day is God. So we face that every day. We are concerned, we is concerned as sheep, to be slaughtered. That's what Paul has said. We consider as sheep to be slaughtered because we have death like every day. Death like every day. So on this earth, we will struggle. We will deal with hard time. Circumstances. Or even God people may face persecution. for generation. You know, the Israelite, they had suffered for 430 years. So Paul wants us to have the right perspective on circumstance, of our daily life. And that's hard. Excuse me, that's hard for us to do. You know, we dealing with circumstances, we dealing with issues, we dealing with trials and tribulation. We dealing with pain and suffering, we struggle. We dealing with everything. But Paul said, have a perspective on our circumstance, of our daily life. So Paul also let us know to be ready for trouble. I don't know if anybody can be ready for the trouble. But if you a righteous person, if you under God, we gonna have trouble. We gonna have tribulation. We gonna have the hard time. And it's like forever. We might have a little break here and there. And the Israelites, they complaining the whole time. And God had given them rest for like so many years, and then it's time for war again. So God give you a little break, but during our lifetime, just like the disciples, Jesus told them before he left the second time, he told them, you're walking in my shoes. So you're walking in my shoes, you're going to experience so much pain, you're going to experience so much hatred. They're going to hate you, because you're walking in Jesus' shoes. And Jesus was a sweet person, and you'll think everybody loved him. But he had half of the people love him, half of the people hate him. And that's somehow so many people can hate you from just being a nice person. He was a nice person trying to bring that word to. He was a seed that God had dropped down to spread that word all over the nation. So Paul said, get ready for the trouble. I don't know if we can get ready for the trouble, but Paul said, get ready for the trouble. On this side of eternity, we should not be surprised when it comes. Because see, he telling we have to read this Bible. That's why our Bible is our guideline. They got trouble times in this Bible, hard time in this Bible, good time in this Bible, but the Bible has so much guidelines in it. They got the do's and don'ts, they got everything in here. The mistakes they made, and for us not to make the mistakes. So also Paul letting us know to be ready, to be careful. So that's how they had to live. Because see, Jesus already told them, y'all gonna be hated. They had to go through so much hard time there also. Because they was in Jesus' shoes. They kept their ministry going. And so, I'm doing Bible study. So we in the New Testament. So everybody saying you're putting this out, you gotta put stuff. When I get an inspiration of putting certain stuff out, I put it out. But right now, we doing Bible study. We learning all the details that's in this Bible. We started from the beginning with Eve. Because when I get my ministry, I will have all the material that I need for Bible study. So it's good to know the details of the Bible. So now he said, get ready for the trouble. Now he said, get ready to be killed, and slaughtered. That's why at the top he said, written for you, for death all day long. Consider as sheep to be slaughtered. And this what it means when he said, be considered as sheep to be slaughtered. He said, prepare yourself for trouble. He said, prepare yourself to be killed and slaughtered like a sheep, for Christ's sake. And so that's what they was doing. They went through this stuff for Jesus. Jesus went through something on this earth. Everybody didn't love him. Even when he went home, he wasn't even honored. He didn't even get congratulations. So a lot of time, and all he was doing was spreading that word, and he was hated. So he let them know, his disciple. We gonna get to that story too. He was talking to his disciple and let him know, be ready. Be ready. Be ready for trouble. Be ready to be hated. Be ready to be slaughtered like a sheep. So and they said there was they kept the ministry going. They went through so much, but Jesus said, if there was, to come, so no, in all these things, we are more than a conqueror, through Him who loves us, from every tribulation, distress, persecution, danger, sword, winning many, many fights. You can win many fights. You know, just like the Israelites, they lost some fights. You're gonna lose sometimes. You're not gonna win all the time. You know, but with God, the Israelite kept on winning. Without God, they lost. They did not lose when they was with God. God turned their back on them many times. So with God, you know, you cannot lose. Uh, tribulation, tribulation in our lives, we are the ones who go through the most pain, to be a conqueror. We go through it all to be a conqueror. Indeed, we are more than a conqueror. You know, our troubles and persecution, fail to destroy our faith. Sometimes the pain, the struggles, everything you go through, Satan will keep on pressing you. He'll try to break you. He'll try to break your faith in God. Try to break your hope. Try to, anything you have hope in with God, Satan will try to break it. When you get through all the persecution that you went through, you are more than a conqueror. So persecution destroy your faith. There is no denying that our trials will sometimes place us under extreme stress, so much stress. And we know that. But we have to conquer it. I'm conquering so much, and I'm not trying to be a hero and conquering all this stuff. But my trials is still a long trial. And when you're still in a long trial, you can't help but to still try to conquer it. So through it all, the valley of shadow of death. But in those trials, and through the valley, we should be more than a conqueror. If you done went through that valley, you done went through that valley and you done come out of that valley, you're more than a conqueror. But it's when you go to the valley and you stay stuck in the valley. You got to go through the valley to be more than a conqueror. Because Satan gonna bring you through that valley. Satan gonna bring you through the tough time, the hard time, the everything. Everything you have to face, you're gonna go through it in that summer. But the thing is, you have to come through it, to be more than a conqueror. So for I am convinced that neither death nor life, no demon, neither the present, nor the future, nor is the inner power will be able to separate us from the love of God that is Christ Jesus of love. Only thing can separate us of ourselves. So the power of unseen forces, of evil, as Satan. So as Satan and his demons. That's what we have to prepare for. Prepare for Satan, and you have to be ready. Satan is very smart in that Bible. He'll manipulate it. Well, he couldn't manipulate Jesus, and we have to do the same thing too. So we have to be able, to separate us, can separate us, from the love of God. So as a believer who have Jesus' power available to us, we will experience great victory both now and forever. So when we go through our tribulation, now we should think about what Jesus had went through on that cross. Because see, we carrying that same cross. The disciples carrying that same cross. They even say we're going to prepare ourselves to be killed. We're going to prepare ourselves for trouble. because they know what they had to go through after Jesus had left. Jesus prepared them, prepare yourself to be killed, prepare yourself for the trouble, because they're gonna come after you just like they did him. They were not like the disciples because of Jesus. So you gonna be hated. So he let them know. So that's why Paul was one of the disciples. That's why he said, prepare yourself to be killed, prepare yourself for trouble. Because when you have the love of God, you will be hated. So that's what Jesus was telling his disciples. You're gonna be hated. So prepare yourself for anything that may come your way. So when we go through the tribulation, we should think about Jesus, you know, um through the cross, on that cross. So it will be an overwhelming victory, that God give to the believers through Christ. All believers are victorious, because of their relationship with Jesus Christ. We are already victorious, if we have the relationship with Jesus Christ, who interceding for us on the right hand side of God. So God allowed nothing to separate us from the love of Him. You know, um, Nobody but ourselves. Ourselves is the only one can. And Satan will try everything to try to turn you away. Look what they did Daniel. They try to find something that Daniel do, in his spiritual life. He prayed 3 times a day. He ain't do nothing wrong. But Satan had to find something on him. Okay, he's still praying. We need to put him in a lion's den. When they don't have nothing on you, they will try to find something. So sometimes it may seem like our trials, has no ending. Oh, Lord have mercy. It will seem like the trials have no ending, but we all, you know, will have to keep on fighting. We have to keep on holding on, to our faith. You know, think about the Israelites, 430 years. Nobody don't want to be in a trial that long, but sometimes, the trials seem like it has no ending. But we will continue on carrying that cross. The same cross that Jesus carried, knowing that Jesus, who died for us and raised to life, and now on God right hand side interceding for us, through all the hard time, we are more than a conqueror in Jesus Christ. So think about in your hard time. Think about everything that you're going through. You are more than a conqueror, and never give up. Keep on fighting the race. Keep on fighting the race. And you have to realize, that God is right there. He watching. He watching. He watch. He sees and he hears everything. So we just have to keep fighting and keep holding on and keep doing the will of God. And remember, keep on saying to yourself that you are more than a conqueror and you will be a survivor. I will be a survivor, to tell a testimony. So that's all the word that I have for you today. We are more than a conqueror. So y'all have a blessed, safe day, and I'll see you on the next